Summary: The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Book link. Click here. Here is a summary of the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. The Four Agreements are: be impeccable with your word, speak with integrity, say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, not yours. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you want. Communicate with others as clearly as possible to avoid misunderstandings, sadness and drama. Always do your best. Your best will change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy instead of sick. Under any circumstance, do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. According to the Toltec, everything in existence is made of light and human perception is light perceiving itself. The world of illusion, the dream, is created by the fog or smoke between the lightweight mirrors. The interpretation of the images of light is what makes the dream. To be free from the dream we must adopt a new belief system and the Four Agreements. By practicing the Four Agreements, we can break the old agreements from our past that cause suffering and live in paradise in the present moment. The Four Agreements give us a code of conduct that, if applied, will transform our lives into a new experience of freedom, happiness, and love. Following the agreements allows one to become impeccable with one's word, to transcend one's own ego and not take anything personally, make no assumptions, and do one's best in all areas of life. Humans are in a constant state of dreaming, even when awake. Society has constructed a collective dream we are born into, called the dream of the planet. The outside dream is taught to us early on using repetitive information transferred through attention, language, and faith. We did not choose this dream or the beliefs and rules that make it up. The process of transferring the outside dream to humans is called domestication. It works through a punishment and reward system, training children like animals. We become afraid of punishment and seek reward through approval. Domestication leads to acting in order to please others, becoming copies of our influences, and losing our true nature. The fear of rejection shapes us into being seeking approval and reward. The domestication eventually becomes self-imposed through the same punishment, reward, and acting system. An inner judge uses the book of law of our adopted beliefs to constantly judge ourselves and others. A victim part of us carries blame, guilt, and shame from this judgment. The book of law and the judgments of the inner judge rule our dream and life experience based on beliefs we did not choose. Going against these produces a fearful sensation. The domestication and dream make up a smoke between the mirror of ourselves and what we really are. In summary, the passage depicts how humans are caught in a dream and systems, not of their choosing but which shape their experience of themselves and life in fundamental ways. A veil or smoke is created between our true nature and our adopted reality. The concept of the smoky mirror represents this idea. We have emotional wounds and react by creating emotional poison. We feel unsafe challenging our beliefs because we have agreed to them, even if they are wrong. It takes courage to challenge them. Our beliefs are like laws that govern our personal dreams. The judge enforces them, and the victim suffers. Unlike other animals who only punish once, we constantly punish ourselves for the same mistakes. This is unjust. We also constantly punish others for the same mistakes, sending them emotional poison. This is also unjust. The judge and our beliefs are wrong because most of our thoughts are lies. This causes suffering. The dream of human society and many personal dreams are like hell, full of fear, punishment, and suffering. But we can choose to have a pleasant plan instead. We search for truth, justice, and beauty but only see lies, injustice, and imperfection due to our false beliefs. Our mind is like a mitotic, many voices talking with no understanding. Our biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive and express who we really are. We try to be perfect to please others but reject ourselves for not achieving this. We abuse ourselves the most through self-judgment and cannot tolerate less abuse from others. We feel we deserve abuse and are unworthy of love. We need love and acceptance but cannot give it to ourselves. In summary, we are trapped in a hell of our own false beliefs and fears, constantly judging and punishing ourselves and others. We need to challenge these beliefs to free ourselves from this suffering. We cannot accept and love ourselves fully because we have an ideal image of perfection that we can never achieve. This leads to self-rejection and self-abuse. We make many agreements with ourselves, others, society, etc., that shape our beliefs and personality. The contracts based on fear limit us, but we can break them by adopting new agreements based on love. The four agreements are: 1. Be impeccable with your word. 2. Don't take anything personally. 3. Don't make assumptions. 4. Always do your best. Following these can transform your life. Your word has immense power. It can create beauty or destroy it. Misusing your word creates suffering, using it impeccably creates heaven on earth. Impeccability means without sin, which means not going against yourself through self-judgment or blame. It leads to life, while self-rejection, the biggest sin, leads to death. Being impeccable with your word means not using it against yourself or others. Expressing love with your comment will produce a like reaction in others. Using your word with anger and emotional poison will harm you in turn. In summary, we can transform our lives by breaking fear-based agreements, loving ourselves as we are, and being impeccable with our words by not using them to hurt ourselves or others. Our observation has creative power, so we must use it wisely and for good. Our words have power, and we often misuse this power to spread negativity, cast spells of doubt, or gossip about others. We learn to misuse words from a young age by listening to the adults around us gossip and spread opinions. This becomes an agreement and habit. Gossip and opinions are like computer viruses that infect our minds and spread, causing damage. They make us see things less clearly and more negatively. One piece of misinformation or gossip can spread widely, infecting many people and breaking down communication. Some people intentionally spread these viruses to seek revenge or make others feel bad. But in doing so, they only make themselves feel worse. We also misuse words against ourselves through negative self-talk, calling ourselves names and doubting our abilities. To break these spells and habits, we must use words impeccably, spread truth instead of gossip, and be cautious of the opinions we accept as truth. Our terms should be used to spread love, not fear. Being impeccable with our word means using words to spread truth and love. This includes the words we use on ourselves and in our own minds. Our observation has the power to set us free from negativity. The key message is that we must be aware of the power of words and use them to spread positivity instead of negativity. Our terms shape our reality and relationships, so we must be impeccable with them. The first agreement, being impeccable with your word, can bring tremendous changes in your life. It can change how you relate to yourself and others. Often we gossip and spread poison about others to feel right. You avoid this and clean emotional poison from your mind and communication by being impeccable with your word. This gives you immunity from the negative influences of others. You will only accept ideas that come from love. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. If someone insults you, it is about them, not you. You only feel offended because you agree with what they said. Then their poison infects you. Taking things personally makes you an easy victim of others who want to manipulate you. It makes you believe you are responsible for everything. But other people live in their own dream and world. Even if something seems personal, it has nothing to do with you. It is how they view the world according to their programming. What others say, do, and think is a projection of their dream, not yours. You know your identity, so you don't need acceptance or approval. You don't take what others think about you personally because it reveals their wounds and fears, not yours. If you live without fear and with love, you won't feel angry, jealous, or sad. You will feel good and spread that to others. You will be happy with yourself and life. You will live in bliss, loving everything around you. Don't take anything personally. Don't take it personally, even if someone insulted, judged, or hurt you. It has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. We should not take everything we hear in our mind personally because our minds can generate thoughts that do not necessarily reflect the truth. Our mind exists in multiple dimensions and can perceive information from various sources, including other spiritual beings. We have a choice whether or not to believe the voices in our minds. Our mind is divided and can talk to itself. This can lead to inner conflict and chaos as different parts of our minds have different and often contradictory thoughts, feelings, and desires. Resolving this internal conflict requires identifying our agreements and aligning them. We should not take anything personally because doing so sets us up to suffer unnecessarily. Others' actions and words say more about them than about us. We are not responsible for others' actions, only our own. Not taking anything personally leads to freedom and immunity from being hurt by the actions and words of others. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We tend to make assumptions, believe they reflect the truth, and then react emotionally to them, creating drama and problems. Making assumptions and taking things personally is the source of much sadness and conflict between humans. It is better to seek clarification than make assumptions. Beliefs distort our perception of reality and set us up for suffering when the truth is revealed. In summary, the key agreements are, 1. Be impeccable with your word, 2. Don't take anything personally, and 3. Don't make assumptions. Following these agreements can help reduce suffering and conflict by providing clarity and improving our relationships with ourselves and others. We make assumptions all the time in our relationships and communication. We assume others know what we want and think without us communicating it. This leads to fights, misunderstandings, and hurt. We assume our partners see relationships the same way we do. We need to clarify our views and expectations, which causes problems. We assume others think like us, feel like us, and judge like us. This is the most significant false assumption and why we fear being ourselves. We make assumptions about ourselves which cause inner conflict. We over or underestimate ourselves. In relationships, we assume our love will change the other person, but that is false. We have to accept people as they are. To avoid assumptions, ask questions and communicate clearly. Have the courage to ask questions until you understand. Find your voice to ask for what you want. Everyone has a right to say no or yes. Ask and be willing to accept either answer. If you don't understand something, ask rather than make assumptions. Clear communication avoids emotional hurt. With clear communication, relationships improve, and conflicts decrease. If everyone communicated clearly, many problems would be resolved. The fourth agreement is always to do your best. Your best will vary from moment to moment and over time. But always do your best, no more and no less. Doing more than your best will deplete you. You are doing less than your best leads to guilt and regret. Your best depends on your feelings, health, energy level, mood, circumstances, time of day, etc. But always aim for your best at the moment. Always doing your best prevents self-judgment, guilt, and self-punishment. It helps you break free of negative patterns. A man went to a Buddhist master and asked how long he would have to meditate to transcend his suffering. The master said that meditating for too long could make him miss the point of living and being happy. The key is to do your best. Doing your best means taking action for the joy of it, not for a reward. This allows you to enjoy life and avoid frustration or escapism. Most people only act for compensation and then are unhappy. When you do your best, you don't give your judge, your inner critic, the chance to make you feel guilty or blame you. You can have no regrets. Doing your best helps you accept yourself. You learn from mistakes by practicing honestly and building awareness. Doing your best doesn't feel like work because you enjoy the action. You do it because you want to, not because you must or to please others. Taking action is living fully. Inaction is denying life. Expressing yourself through movement manifests your ideas and brings rewards. Doing your best has become a ritual and belief. Everything, like showering, is an opportunity to do your best and express love. This is like the Hindu puja ritual. The best way to thank God is by living in the present, letting go of the past, and doing your best. Resisting life is resisting God. Your existence proves God and life. You have a right to be happy, love, and be yourself. You can only be yourself by doing your best. Not doing your best denies your request to be you. The first three agreements: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, only work if you do your best. Don't judge yourself for failing at them, do your best. Doing your best repeatedly makes you a master of transformation. Practice leads to mastery. Taking action and honoring yourself leads to freedom and self-love. Loving and honoring your body is a communion with God. You don't need idols, just live fully. True freedom is the freedom to be our authentic selves. We blame external factors but stop ourselves from being accessible due to our adopted beliefs and judgments. Young children are free because they live in the present moment, freely express themselves, and are loving. As we become adults, we adopt beliefs and judgments that limit our freedom and happiness. We are expected to adopt limiting beliefs from our parents and society. We should not blame them. However, we need to free ourselves from these beliefs. Our moments of greatest happiness are when our authentic self emerges, like when we are creative or playful. But responsibilities and the need to be serious often stifle this. Most people need to be made aware they are not free. Awareness is the first step to freedom. We must become aware of the beliefs and judgments that limit us. There is no need to suffer. We can rebel against the beliefs that limit us and transform our way of thinking. The views of society are not the truth. The judge, the victim, and beliefs are what limit our freedom. We must stop their control over our minds. Taking responsibility for your freedom and happiness is key. Do not wait for others or the world to change. Transform your own mind. The key message is that we must become aware of how our own beliefs and judgments limit our freedom and happiness. We must rebel against victimhood and society's views to find our authentic selves. Our space is in our own hands. Most of the beliefs that guide you and cause you suffering are not even true. You have suffered for nothing because the belief system that shapes your mind is based on lies. It is essential to master your dream, and changing your life if you do not like it is necessary. You can change your life at any time. Dream masters create a masterpiece of life and control the dream by making choices. They are aware of the consequences of their choices. The Toltec way of life means having your own truth and living your own reality. Toltecs become wise, wild, and accessible. 3 masteries lead to becoming Toltec: mastery of awareness, mastery of transformation, and mastery of intent. The judge, victim, and belief system act as a parasite that enters the human mind and controls thoughts and actions. They feed on fear and drama. There are 2 choices: surrender to the judge and victim or rebel against them. Rebelling means declaring war on them to regain independence and freedom. The path of the warrior means fighting the parasite to have a chance at freedom and living your own life. You may win or lose, but at least you fight. There are 3 solutions to defeating the parasite. Face your fears one by one. This is slow but works. Stop feeding the parasite emotions from fear. This is hard but starves the parasite. The initiation of the dead, symbolically killing the parasite without harming your physical body. This is the fastest but most challenging solution. The dream you live now results from the outside world directing your attention and instilling beliefs in you. The dream of the second attention occurs when you focus your attention on your agreements and thoughts and change them. You have a choice now as an adult. To change your beliefs, be aware of the limiting, fear-based beliefs that make you unhappy. Inventory them and transform them through adopting new ideas like the 4 agreements. Adopting the 4 agreements declares war on the parasite to regain freedom. They can end emotional pain and allow a new dream. It would help if you explored the possibilities. The stronger you get by breaking agreements, the more you can break until you reach the core beliefs. Facing these core beliefs is like going into the desert to meet your demons, who then become angels. Practicing the 4 agreements requires excellent personal power. Each broken agreement increases your strength until you can face the giant demons. You need courage and persistence to break harmful agreements that make you suffer. It is a slow process that requires replacing those agreements with positive ones. Strong beliefs and habits can make this process seem hopeless. But you can do it step by step with patience. It took time to develop your current way of living, and it will take time to change it. Breaking agreements requires as much power as making them. Your arrangements feel addictive and like part of your identity. But you can overcome that with new contracts and repetition. Your emotions and mood affect how you see the world. When you're angry, sad, or fearful, everything seems negative, but there are more accurate perceptions of the actual world. The human mind is like infected skin, wounded and covered in emotional poison from negative experiences like injustice, anger, hate, and sadness. But we can heal those wounds with forgiveness and truth. Forgiveness is the key to healing. Forgive others not because they deserve it but because you deserve inner peace. Forgive yourself and accept who you are. Emotional healing comes from removing poison and lies from your mind. To become free, control your emotions rather than let them control you. Warriors have the awareness and discipline to be authentic. Repressing emotions is unhealthy. Refrain from expression only when needed. Embrace death to live genuinely. Any day could be your last, so focus on living in the present. Don't worry about what others think, be yourself and do what you enjoy. Death teaches us the value of each moment. Rather than fear death, use it as motivation to live freely and fully right now. The author suggests living each day as if it were your last by expressing gratitude for each day you're alive and telling loved ones you love them. If you live this way, you prepare yourself for the initiation of death, in which your limiting beliefs and judgments, referred to as the parasite, die, allowing you to live freely and happily. The author encourages readers to dream a new dream of heaven on earth using imagination and perception. In this new dream, you perceive love in everything, live without fear or judgment, freely express yourself, and love yourself as you are. Experiencing bliss in heaven on earth is possible by changing your agreements and perceptions. The author says life in the world can be beautiful when lived through love. Love produces happiness and inner peace. One can release suffering, negativity, and judgment by choosing to perceive with love. Happiness and suffering are choices. The author intends to live in heaven. Readers are asked to close their eyes, open their hearts, and feel the love within. The summary describes a guided meditation focused on experiencing divine love and connection. It instructs you to focus on your breath and lungs, feel the air filling your lungs, and experience the pleasure and joy of being alive. You are then led through 2 prayers, a prayer for freedom. This prayer asks the Creator to help you love unconditionally, without judgment of yourself or others. It asks to cleanse your heart of emotional poison and free your mind from judgment so you can live in peace and love. A prayer for love. This visualizes a dream in which you meet an older man radiating light who shares the story of how his love grew to encompass all of creation. He then puts a flame of love in your heart so you can experience becoming one with all of nature and humanity. A final prayer thanks the Creator for life, mind, and spiritual gifts. The summary ends by listing several other book titles by Don Miguel Ruiz focused on Toltec wisdom, the Four Agreements, mastery of love, and similar spiritual teachings. Book link, click here.